Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel. Peter likes books because I do, and because I love to talk about books. And this is a snowy winter book vlog today. And I'm going to talk about what I'm currently reading. And I'm not going to be talking about the West Memphis 3, Damien Eckel's, or the Robin Hood Hill murders because I have put that behind me. I completely saturated myself with every possible reading that I could do about that. I will say this, that if you participated in our last book club live stream, which was last Sunday, where we talked about the West Memphis 3, I have to say it was one of the best live streams we've ever had. We had so many people guesting, so many new people guesting. I want to thank the people that came in there and guested that were new, like Elizabeth and Alyssa and Stacy. I want to say thank you to the three of you. Thank you to people that typically come in there and guest, like Nikki, who didn't get a chance to guest, and Misha, and Karen. Who else guested? I'm forgetting somebody. But anyway, we had such a great time, and I'm forgetting a couple people that guested, so I apologize. Mel and I are currently coming up with some ideas to even make the live streams better. We're coming up with some ideas, and Karen is actually going to be part of this. Some ways for people that don't want to guest that can participate more fully in the book club discussion. So we're really excited about that, and Karen has agreed to do that. So, all right. And for the book of the February book for the True Crime Book Club is Hell in the Heartland by Jax Miller. And she is extremely active on Twitter. I'm sure if you tweeted her or followed her or had any questions for the author, she would respond. She has followed both Mel and I because she knows that we announced the book, and she seems very, very cool and very into talking about her writing and things like that. So I love any author that is extremely active like that with the readers. I think that's so cool. So anyway, I haven't started it yet. Mel has started it. I think she's halfway through, and she's loving it. Other people are saying that it's fantastic. So I'm really excited about starting it. But right now, I was going to say about the Damien Eckel's book. So I finished the Damien Eckel's book, Life After Death. And if you're interested in Damien Eckel's and not so much about the case, I would highly, highly, highly recommend reading the book. It is a fantastic memoir. It goes back and forth between talking about his growing up and being on death row. And then it takes you up to 6 months after he has been released. And it wasn't what I expected. I thought it would be a retelling of the case, but it really isn't. He references the case, but he only really talks about it like for a paragraph. And then he says that there's enough books and movies out there that if you want to he says enough, I think, good books and movies out there that if you want to find out what happened, you can go read those books and watch those documentaries. So he doesn't really talk about the case whatsoever. I was interested to see if he would, but he really didn't. Okay, I will say this, and we brought this up in the book club. I was kind of surprised. The Son of Sam law says that you cannot write a book or financially make any financial gains off of writing a book if you are a convicted killer, is what I understood. But because of the Alford plea they took, they pronounced their innocence, but they also claimed, like in a court of law, that they were guilty. They had to for the Alford plea. So I don't understand how he can write books that talk about that case at all and make any financial gains off of that. So that's interesting to me. I think that most people, I would say 99.9% of the people that have watched the Paradise Lost documentaries or read any of the books do not believe that Damien Eckel's had anything to do with the case. But so total miscarriage of justice. It was very, very sad what happened. And to the three little boys, I will say this, in reading everything, I feel like they are like the lost part of the telling of all of it. It's like nobody really talks about them whatsoever. They talk about their families, and they talk about the West Memphis 3, but they don't really talk about the fact that this is still a cold case. It's never, I mean, the prosecutors of Arkansas stand to the fact that they found the right 3 killers, but I think most people know that that's not true, and there's enough, evidence out there pointing in other directions that it makes you wonder, like, in Damien Eckel's book, he says his attorneys are still investigating the case and looking for other things that could have possibly happened. So, this mom just picked her kid up off the school bus, and it totally reminds me of my mom when I was a little kid. She's out there, like, because her driveway is so long and goes into the woods, and that reminds me of my mom when I was a little kid, and I would come home, and she'd make, not every day, but, you know, if you've heard me talk about my mom on my other channels, there were some days that, you know, because she was actively drinking, that were not the greatest, but I would say 90% of the time I would come home and my mom would make me hot chocolate or graham crackers with frosting and all of that. So anyway, okay, I am currently reading The Project by Courtney Summers, which is my February book for Peter's Book Club. Let me just tell you how this all happened, okay? Because this is the coolest thing to me. And Courtney Summers is another one that is extremely active on her social media. She loves to talk about her book. I think she is fantastic at promoting and marketing her own book, like unbelievably so. And so I read Sadie, her last book, a couple years ago. It was in my top 3 for that year, I believe. And I loved Sadie. I thought it was like the first book that I read in like 2018. And I thought it was so fantastically done. And the whole thing is done like to this podcast. And I just was blown away. And so I think it's her publicist or her agent reached out to me and said, but I believe it's her publicist from the publishing company, reached out to me and said, you know, like, we know that you loved Sadie, and which I was kind of surprised. I was like, how did they know that I liked Sadie? Oh my God. Now, I have followed Courtney forever on Twitter, but I honestly, and I told her this, I thought it was a fan account. I don't know why. And she was like, no, it's not a fan account. She was very sweet. We have talked a lot in DMs. She has reached out to me. She's given me some suggestions of things we could do together for the book club. She's awesome. I mean, she is absolutely awesome. I love her. And so her publicist reached out to me and said, hey, you know, like, we would love to send you a copy of, you know, Courtney's new book, The Project. It's coming out February 2nd. And she said, we know you have a book club if you'd ever like to keep it on the radar, you know, for a possible book down the road. And I was like, keep it on the radar as a possible book. I'll make it my February book. I was so excited. I was like, okay, I'm going to announce the book on the day that it came out, which I didn't end up doing. I announced it the day after. I was so excited about it. And, but I will tell you, and it's funny because I actually, so the other night I stayed up until like 6 o'clock in the morning or something, 5:30, and I listened to her book. And I was like, okay, I'm a little nervous about reading her book, because I was like, oh, they sent me an Audible copy too, by the way, because they know that I love audio versions of it, which the audio version is fantastic, I will say. And the audio version of Sadie is probably one of the best audio versions I've ever listened to of any book in my life, because it's just, with the podcast and the way that they did it and the different voices, it's fantastic. So I started listening to it, and I have to tell you, I was a little worried, because now I've interacted with the publicist, now I've interacted with the author, you know, I give honest reviews, and so I was like, what am I going to do if I don't like this book? Like, you know what I mean? Like, here I am, I'm knee deep, wading in the water, what am I going to do if I don't like this book? And I started it. So the book is about 2 sisters and like a tragedy that occurs in their lives, and that they're extremely close, but after this tragedy, something separates them. And then the book is about this one sister being in a cult, and the other sister trying to find her and find out what's going on with her. And it's being compared to Emma Cline's The Girls, which I would not be sad to have any book of mine compared to Emma Cline's The Girls, because it's so fantastic. I mean, that was one of my favorite books. I will tell you, and I was just saying this in my vlog, which is why I decided to do a book vlog today. It's interesting to me that books like, I think Sadie at first was considered young adult, which just because it had a young voice. I mean, I think often books that have a young narrator voice or young, you know, main character are often considered young adult, when I wouldn't agree with that. Like, I think Sadie was considered young adult. I do not believe it's a young adult book at all. I think it had a young character in it, but I don't, like main character, but I don't believe that it was young adult. Emma Cline's The Girls, I could not believe, and I just said this in my other vlog, I couldn't believe it when I saw it at Half Price Books in the young adult section, because I thought, you know, we consider young adult to be like 12 to 18, you know, then there's like new adult, which is like kind of more adult ideas. But Emma Cline's The Girls is about, you know, this woman looking back, she's like my age, and she's looking back on her life as, you know, being a member of this cult that was very similar to like the Manson cult. And I'm like, how is this young adult? It's just not. And my battery just started dying, so I'm gonna have to finish this at home when the battery dies. Oh my God. Or I could just finish it now, but I guess I'll just finish it now and just say I'm absolutely loving the project, and I'll do another vlog tomorrow and talk more about it after I've finished it tonight or I've read more. But I'm absolutely loving it. It's fantastic. It's a thriller, but it's very endearing at the same time. It's kind of an idea that I was a little worried about, because I was like, well, this has kind of been done in some other ways. It's so unique and it's telling that it doesn't seem like a copy of anything else that I've ever read before. Right from the get-go. She writes in-depth characters that you become very attached to and want to know more about. Actually, the character of Casey in the book is extremely interesting to me. And so there's, and I mean, the main character of like, of Lo and B and Lev are extremely interesting to me, but Casey, like these side characters that she writes about, the publisher that she works for and things like that. You guys, I'm just telling you right now, you will not be disappointed in the project. Right now, it's a 5 out of 5 for me. I'm absolutely loving it, and it is fantastic. So, are you reading it? Are you reading it? Let me know in the comment section below if you're participating in Peter's Book Club this month. And I will obviously give a full review when it's done, but I'll probably talk about it a little bit tomorrow too if I do a book vlog. So anyway, I love you guys, and let me know what you're reading in the comment section below, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.